And today, here we are in another session with Dean Mohammed Patricia. And today's morning preparation session, as we are seeing, it's 8:07 a.m. and we have the markets opening very soon at 9:15. This week is going to be a very, very important week for the markets. Morning preparation sessions with a special group of students, and this is coming up on YouTube. Those who are watching this on YouTube, do make sure you see the last few days where I've uploaded the sessions of the morning preparation. Okay. Now, as I said, this coming week is a very important week, right? And let's root back to a few things which are very basic to our understanding of markets. Markets discount expectations. Markets discount expectations. And when it comes to an event which is about to happen, there are always, certain expectations or certain, even if it is a neutral expectation, it is still an expectation. The market has the tendency to react emotionally. There are many famous jargons like, adage like the adage which says buy on rumors, sell on news. Okay. An important event is coming, there are often certain expectations of the price. And in the coming week, we might hear some new rumors coming up, okay, in this week, and new kind of news even before the budget coming up that this may happen, that may happen, due to which, due to which there may be certain volatile movements as the public really becomes very emotional and acts an extreme in such situations. Okay, so we have to be really careful about our intraday trading. If we are trading intraday, we have to be careful about that. As much as we have to be careful, there will also be opportunities. There would be volatility which could come up, and that volatility could be very beneficial for us also, right? So all said, let's start with Nifty. We spoke about a lot of stocks the last time we met, and one of the common things which is a normal question of a person is, so how many times do you think am I able to deliver good trades, execute good trades during the day if I prepare in the morning or the night before? So the answer to that question is that many times I will be able to pull off very good trades because my preparation will have enough data, enough price data to show me that yes, something is happening. On the other hand, in some cases, we're going to have to wait. It's going to be a waiting game. Okay, let the price show me something. So if we look back in the previous week, one of these days, I was predominantly talking about the short-term bearish nature of the market. And then we saw eventually there was a turnaround. The next day again, there was a turnaround which continued, and all these subtleties were the result of price data of this day itself. Also, when I speak that, what would be happening when people who come on television and talk and all, there's no problem or any grudge I have with anyone. The only thing which I say is that they have become very compulsive, and it's not their fault. The TV episodes are structured in such a way that they become very compulsive to do analysis, and that is not healthy for any analyst or trader. Not healthy for any analyst or trader. So, keeping that in mind, for today, I do have some stocks to look at, some decent number of stocks, but also I have places where one needs to really wait a little bit because we might see some development happen. Okay. Right now, in the short term, we have seen the Nifty turnaround showing us a short-term uptrend. Now, this could be a pullback in a downtrend, or it could be a continuing short-term uptrend. I don't know. It could also mean sideways in nature. That part I'm not very clear about. Whatever evidences I saw, as far as the market has moved till yesterday, and probably have some more follow through in today's date, we might see that the market will show us something new. Probably it could show us something bearish or something more sideways. It is also difficult to anticipate because we are expecting volatility to come in, expecting different things to come in because of the budget season coming up, right? If I look at the SGX chart, if I go to the investing.com and see SGX chart and see how market is doing today morning, because we are not very far. Let's see how SGX has been doing. Relatively flattish, nothing much, and in fact mildly down. Okay, so nothing much happening in SGX to give us any kind of evidence. Mondays can be very interesting in the markets, and some Mondays can be full of power and full of hope and full of bullishness. Okay, this is like a typical Monday market, but some Mondays can be really loose and probably nothing can happen. Mondays particularly tend to be a place where a lot of people, a lot of market participants come with a lot of gusto and energy, right? So let's look at some of the stocks in our FNO list, and I've spoken about some of them. So I spoke about the cement sector, particularly on Friday morning, and out of which Ultratech Cement was one of the top picks. So we can see like although during the day it went up, and last hour, second last hour, third last hour, there's a correction. But just look at the kind of movement you see on Ultratech Cement. So it's a huge movement, much anticipated. We've spoken about it at length. How many of you remember me speaking about Ultratech Cement? Can you just show me raise of hands? Ultratech Cement. How many of you remember me speaking about it? Right. Just look at the continuation. Just look at the way it has moved. Also, the similarly other stocks in cement sector, other stocks in the cement sector, like Grasim, similar to that. These are going to show follow-throughs. These are likely to show follow-throughs in the coming future as well. Okay, coming future as well. We see it about to break an important level. L&T we had spoken about, and I had to change my view with the price changing. And we did see some further up move follow through, but I was not very vehement of it immediately. Now I think you have to let it unfold. Correct, correct. Thank you. We do have some stocks on the cement sector which have not moved so much yet. So we like to take those stocks into account, keep that on our radar, like Sea Cement. It is more of in a correction. So I'd like to keep this on my radar for some further up move because the movement seems to be so strong and it is making new highs, new 52-week highs, new lifetime highs. I don't really decipher that to be any kind of a reversal probably pending. What I see is that this could continue and this should be one of the stocks on my radar. When there is a sector showing us something, you like to go with strength. You like to follow through with strength, right? You don't want to play around where there is no strength or there is no particular movement happening. So after the cement sector, I spoke about Hindustan Unilever, and they generally also markets in the morning itself. Hindustan Unilever gave a big move. Now my inference over here is even if we correct, that would be a correction in the short term. There should be more likeliness of more up move coming up over here. Same goes for Dabur, and Dabur was actually more, although it took it later, but it was actually even better than Hindustan Unilever. So Dabur is one thing. Now, and we have also seen it go to absolute uncharted territory. which is great. Never before have we seen Dabur over here, and it's a lifetime high altogether. So Dabur is again one stock on my radar, which definitely we see in the next few days to be very interesting. Amongst our list of stocks where there's long-term trend happening, one thing which we took the very first day, you can go back to the recording of last Tuesday and check it out, okay, was Century Textiles. Now we look at the weekly chart of Century Textiles and the massive consolidation which happened over here, right? Massive consolidation. If I come back to daily chart, so if I open the daily chart, that day I was seeing that there's a continuation which is likely to be possible. So this is the day we started our uh, morning preparation sessions, and we just look at the way this is moving. With such high volumes, we have not seen in a long time, and heading towards new lifetime highs. So Century Textiles should definitely be on your radar, no doubt about it. Okay. We also spoke about Apollo Hospitals, Torrent Pharma. Well, they did a little more sideways corrective mode, and that's fine. You don't need to have a trend keep going on, keep going on. It needs to rest also, right? Lupin is one stock we have been looking at since day one, and I still am very much clear about my broader term view. I need some short term triggers to enter a trade. If I find that short term triggers breaking out on the downside, probably look for Lupin to short, right? Then we spoke about Yes Bank, SBI, and PNB. PNB, although our view did not follow through like that, nothing much happening here. But I'll give an example of SBI and Axis. Okay, these things should be noticed right now at this stage. We are seeing that there has been some up move in the recent past, but we are heading towards these resistance areas. Okay, same goes for SBI. There was up move, there was even follow through, but we could head towards, if we were to go higher, we could be heading towards resistance areas. So when we see so many resistance areas are coming up and there is some up move left in the market, okay, overall this could be a common picture on many stocks. Now this is a confusing scenario. Why? Because the different stocks are showing us different levels of bullishness or bearishness, and you don't want to judge the market breadth by seeing the different stocks bullishness or bearishness. You want to where it is a mixed up scenario, where there's a commonality you want to, when there's a mixed up scenario you don't want to. Okay, so in this situation, what my basic suggestion is to wait for some more price data, and every day in the market is going to be different. Today I might sound a little more boring than how excited was on Friday, and on how beautifully we took about 14 stocks, if I remember, 14 stocks on our data, and practically almost all sort of worked out exactly the way we were looking forward for it to, right? So yes, it is sometimes important that we look back. See, we will look talking about MRF also. It is sometimes important that we really charge in with our trades into the markets, but it is sometimes also highly important that we have a subtle thread of attention, but we don't really do much until we have clarity, right? Until we have clarity. Until we don't have clarity, better not to do much. Similarly for Yes Bank. Now here are certain resistance areas in the short term. So I don't want to really jump into it. Okay. Don't really want to jump into it. So here I'm, just waiting and watching and seeing how this would unfold. That's it. I mean, there is no hurry. Because if I just go and rush into anything, I might get caught up in the wrong direction. Although I do see that there could be some nice follow-throughs coming up. Voltas is one long-term pick again, very long-term. This is the monthly chart of Voltas. Same for Chola Finance. Somewhere around the same time I started tracking both of them for the long-term movement that could come. Okay. So we are in a clear uptrend over here in a long-term way. Torrent Pharma is one thing which is on our, Torrent Power is one thing again which is on our radar. And we spoke about on Friday about some follow-through which has started. So we have come out of a strong sideways consolidation after a strong uptrend. So this is very likely to continue in the near future, absolute near future also. Okay. So we're gonna keep on these stocks on your radar and hold on. So today we are going to speak mostly about the F&O stocks, just like we normally do. UPL was something which was one of the only stocks which I spoke about with a certain degree of bearishness. And because it was more of a bull market, said we can avoid looking for bearish movements. But if somebody did, then the pullback was sold into in case of UPL. I still believe UPL to be very strongly on the downside, pretty strongly on the downside. Some stocks which did not show follow through. One of them, I don't remember many of them. One of them is PEL. So you don't need to see follow through all the time. We did see it in the morning and then it shaved off all the gains. So if one stock to keep on radar because of the ongoing uptrend is PEL. It is. Now, if I look at it, it is a shooting star looking like pattern over here. And you don't want to buy something against the broader uptrend, right? Sorry, if there's a downtrend beginning, you don't want to buy something. So what we do is we understand that fact that it is right above a resistance area which has been crossed. If a resistance area has been crossed, okay, is the resistance area has been crossed, then we have a bullish energy which is coming up also, right? I'm getting about 3 or 4 questions in stocks and this and that. I'm not going to take any of these stocks. Please don't worry about it because I just want to go with the flow of my analysis in these kind of sessions, right? Okay, I have some conceptual question over here, which says that how do you decide if there could be any target for Dabur since it's a lifetime high? So one thing, Murliji, it should be a pattern target could be in place, number one. Number two is you see how the trend is unfolding, okay? So pattern target would be in the case of Dabur, you can calculate what the pattern is, the breadth of the pattern in this case, right? So if I'm pulling out Dabur now, the long term, in the long term, we see a very good uptrend. So just by subjective idea, you can understand the way it is. If this is the correction, okay, if this is the correction, then the overall trend must be so big. So you get a subjective idea, number one. Number two is we have just crossed these resistance areas. Okay. Now it is just started to fly. Most of the people make this mistake that the moment the stock starts to fly, they are very much ready to exit the stock. They make little profits on it. How many of you think you have made that mistake or do make that mistake even now? Please raise your hands. It's just started to fly, you tend to book profits. Those initial few thousand rupees or whatever it is. Yeah. Some of you are making that mistake now. So I would say don't. This is not going to help you. Something like Dabur, it's a long-term trend. You don't want to fool around with it. You want to really milk it. It might sound boring because it will not lead you to 50 different stocks every day. But guess what? That is what trading addictions are. Just keeping looking for new stimulation. You take one and you stick to it in the long term or in the whichever time frame it is. You keep with patience. See, sticking to a trade entire day in intraday is also sometimes important and difficult for many people. But you stick to it. You don't look for other stimulations. So if you've got some one stock which I would say is Dabur, it's hats off. It's really in the long term showing us some promise. Now, in the short term, pattern target could be made calculating the pattern over here. Problem is that when we're looking at such a big movement and big breakout, Obviously, corrections could also be big. So if those who are comfortable taking it in futures, who want to trade it, have the same kind of analysis and the inference, there will be different people, and the people who will be more comfortable taking deliveries will be different. So you have to choose what you want to do. Okay. I've been tracking this stock since quite a while, from the time it made a low. And according to Elliott wave theory, my long-term inference is that we have seen a regular flat correction over here. That means out of the intermediate trend from this point to this point, or from this point to this point, what we have seen over here is A, B, C. And this has made a lower low. This has made a lower low. This is A, this B, this C. We were hovering above these resistance areas for some time, quite some time, hovering above these resistance areas. Once we did that, we broke out. It's been some time we broke out, some 2-3 weeks it's been going up, right? Like this. It's been time we broke out. After we broke out, we saw another consolidation. Okay. So even if this corrects, etc., there's a lot of room you can give to it if you still hold on to the bullish expectations around it, right? One more stock which is similar to the kind of breakout which we just saw in Dabur, something a little more fresh in this nature is Ujjivan. Okay. Now this is a phenomena which is normal, which happens. That is that, and that is why you should not be against the weekly trend and the weekly chart. The Ujjivan stock, okay, in the recent past I was tracking it, and here my inference was bearish that we might go and actually go further down. And as a trader, I have to be like a chameleon. I have to change my view according to the color of the market. Here, I saw it is taking some support, and it is definitely a volatile stock. I've traded sometimes, it's definitely volatile. But I saw some support area, and it took this support area. And now it is breaking above from these resistance areas. Although seems very basic, but if you look at the weekly chart, there's a consolidation above a cup and handle pattern. So basically, there's a cup, one second, there's a cup and there's a handle, and there's a consolidation above this. So the weekly chart trend is super strong, and this consolidation is above this. And we are always on the lookout of not just what has happened, we're also on the lookout of what is it that is super awesome, something super awesome that can happen. So if I look at Ujjivan, the tricky part is that since it's a volatile stock, and since it is not showing us so much weekly data, if I look at it, when did it start? It started here. Okay, that is a tricky part. But if this is to play through as another cup and handle pattern, in the long term, we could see a huge target coming up on Ujjivan. The way I see it, I'm giving an example. We're always on the lookout for the next trends, like what we saw in Bharti Airtel recently, right? Right. So we want to look for those things. We also want to look for short term. In the short term, the ones which we do, which end up doing very well. So one interesting thing about Ultratech Cement is that you see the last hour this movement has happened. Okay, last hour this movement has happened, and this is ultra big movement. Wait for some more price data in intraday, because such expansion has happened in volatility. Connections could be deep also. So wait a little bit, and definitely I would think it to be an amazing idea to be bullish on this stock, right? Ambuja Cement is one thing which was raised out. Okay, fine, similar short-term uptrend, right? Now, speaking of stocks like PEL or PVR, or some of these stocks which have been trending. One stock which is again very important, I did say that I'm not a very big fan of trading it, but I did say that this looks in the bullish in the short term, and we did see follow through on Titan. Now we are headed towards this resistance area. Again, we are completely going in a very powerful move in Titan. So this break above this is something which I see likely to happen. And you could look for continuation patterns in the intraday space. Okay. Just like we saw follow through about, we can see similar follow through coming up. The volumes are decent, the volumes are increasing, and during the entire space, the volumes are declining, the volumes are increasing. So keep an eye open for it. Tata Steel and Hindalco. Again, two steel sector stocks we track. A little bit, yes, loose kind of movements, and then on Friday it came up a little bit. So we did see that there was some short term and sort of a time stop loss, you can say, that goes away, and then you want to just be a little more flexible and let more market data give you a view. Similarly with TCS, I'm letting market data give me some more view. Not really getting any clarity until we go below these levels and go after some more development impact. Infosys, it's been uptrend overall, but in the short term, how it's going to unfold in intraday, it's not really been a very intraday friendly stock in the recent past, right? But we do see that HCL Tech, you know, a lot of IT sector stocks have been short-term bullishness, and that could literally continue. So if short-term bullishness in IT sector is continuing, if we are seeing that the pharmaceutical sector is not that bearish, okay, okay, no, I can't really comment on pharmaceutical sector, but except for Torrent Pharma and Apollo Hospital, some of the healthcare names. So, okay, this is a mixed bag, fine. But let's look at the USD INR. That's what I want to tell you. Let's look at the USD INR and let's see how it is placed. If it can give us some inter-market analytical cues, there is some correlation which may play out. So if that plays out, looking at it objectively, we can think that okay, probably market is going here or market is going there. So we are right in the middle of the range in case of USD INR. And middle of the range is obviously an important zone. I'm not saying we have to go on the top of the range, but keep an eye out on it. If we start seeing downward momentum, that could really mean a lot of bullishness for the market. Okay. And if we see upward momentum over the next few days, then this could also have a negative correlation with the market, which could play out. Okay.